Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we are talking about the infamous cult classic Japanese horror comedy Hausu, also known as House, from 1977. Take it away, Greg.
Well, first of all, I'd like to white-splain the title to you because you introduced it first as Hausu, which is actually not how it was intended to be titled. The official title in Japan is the English word house. It's on the movie, like, physically, all the logos have it. The bastardization of the word in Japanese, if you want to call it that, culturally insensitive. Here I am trying to explain, and meanwhile, I'm shitting on their language.
You're doing a great job.
It's like that seems to be like something that Americans were like, oh, well, it's Japanese, so it must have a direct translation. Like, I'm sure there is literally a Japanese word for house that they just didn't use. Anyway, yes, we are here to talk about the movie.
You know what? I never knew that.
Yes.
I've learned something within the first 1 minute of this cast. So
and you're going to learn so many more things in this life. But today...
In this life, we're all students in the school of life.
Well, first of all, can we point out your new camera, everything? Well, it's not a new camera per se,
new
but...
world. It's an old, very old camera, but it is a better camera than the one that our viewers have previously seen, which is just my shitty built-in webcam on my computer. Now I'm actually using a DSLR, and here we are.
Here we are. Let's talk about House, the movie.
House.
Not the TV show with what's his name?
House.
Hugh Laurie. Dr. Gregory House.
You know, I've never, ever watched that show.
Well,
that might surprise you.
It was created by a pedophile, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bryan Singer.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway. Actually, I don't know if he created it. I think he just produced it. But the point being, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Japanese film from 1977.
And there's another movie called House as well.
Well, we're not. Just shut up. Just stop.
I just want to clarify, it's not that one. It's not the other horror movie. That's not a bad movie either, though. But we're not talking about that one.
Well, it's interesting that this movie, I didn't know until I started doing some Wikipedia research, the most sophisticated academic kind that there is.
It's the only kind there is.
I didn't know that this movie didn't make it to the U.S. for like 25 years, basically.
Wasn't it like in the 2000s that it showed up?
It was like 2009.
Wow.
That it only ever made its way to America, which is weird. You would think that like the cult status that it has wouldn't have just arisen in the last 15 years. But, I mean, people didn't like the Twin Peaks movie for like 20 years until they were like, this is a masterpiece, so...
But you know what, though? I think when they say that it didn't come to, like, North America until then, I think what they mean is, like, in a available, format, because I knew about that movie before that. I think it was, like, already a big, like, cult movie that people were torrenting and shit like that. Because I definitely remember...
Was it, like, a VHS bootleg kind of movie? Like,
it just showed
video type of...
It's like
reputation.
The Ring. You put it in your VCR and you have like 7 days to live after watching it. I'm pretty sure I torrented it somewhere.
Now that one, that one.
Anyway, I watched it. I watched House when I was in university, and that would have been in 2005, 2006, sometime around then. So it was circulating, but maybe not in a like an official way,
Gotcha. Well, I was 8 years old when you saw it for the first time. I didn't see it until I think maybe 2019 or so. And it took me a few more years to actually spot the fact that Brian, aka Geologist, is wearing a House shirt on the corner of the cover of Centipede Hurts by the band Animal Collective. You may or may not have heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, speaking of Geologist... Brian, what do you think of House? Cut to the clip.
Cut to the clip.
I saw it for the first time. It was actually like when Dave and Noah, they were either tracking Sungtongs or they went over to play some shows with Kieran Fortet in the UK shortly out, like in between tracking and mixing Sungtongs. It was definitely the fall of 2003. It was like a time period, if we've ever talked about it, where like we had this van in New York City, and I had like left New York, but it was before my job in DC started. So if Dave was like not going to be home, I mean, I was often on his couch anyway, but he lived with Eric Copeland from Black Dice, and the three of us were good friends. And like, so if Dave like left town, I basically was like, oh shit, free bed in New York, you know? And I would just go live with Eric, like when he was out of town. And there was this video store called Kim's Video. It's like record store, video store around New York City for a long
R.I.P.
time. I don't know. Yeah, totally. And we had a lot of friends that worked there, both in like the music department. Reverend Green, Brad Truax, current bass player for Interpol, but previous Animal Collective tour manager. He started working for us during the touring for Feels, like the pre-touring for Feels. He was like the main music buyer at Kim's. This was Mondo Kim's, the one on St. Mark's Place. So he was like the music buyer, and then we had friends. They were kind of just like friends of ours that we would go out drinking with. That we all hung out at this bar called Daddy's in Brooklyn, and like some of the Daddy's regulars worked in the video department there, and they never like charged us for any, you know, they were just like, try not to keep it for more than a couple of days. So we like got like tons of free videos, free rentals from Kim's, and often like we didn't go there like looking for a specific one. It'd just be like, what should we, you know, what do you recommend? And so I remember like Eric and I rented that one night. That like I can't remember. I think it was our friend Alex. I don't know where he is right now, but if it was you, Alex, thank you. But this was like before any official version of it had ever been released in the States. So it was like an old VHS from Japan that had been like dubbed onto like a, you know, region 1 VHS, and it did not have subtitles. And so that I still to this day I've never seen it with subtitles, and I never want to see it with subtitles, because like that was why that night it was like so like important to, you know, it was like I knew there was probably a narrative structure, but one of the many like important things in my life where like a piece of art has taught me like it doesn't have to make sense, it doesn't have to be linear, and it can almost feel like collage and be like just as engaging. And that is why House means so much to me, is I really think it is because like I saw this unsubtitled version and was still just like riveted. And it was a huge influence on Oddsac, you know, like there were a lot of discussions with the producer of Oddsac and with Danny, and you know, like it originally was supposed to be a tour documentary, and we were like, well, it'd be cool if we could throw in these little arty things in between, instead of like in between the live shows that or live songs, instead of it just being like shots of us like staring out of a van window, like maybe we could just do these little like vignettes. And so we asked for like an increased budget to do those, and then eventually we got so into those that it just became Oddsac. We never even like used any live footage. It was not the tour documentary it was supposed to be. And House was often like the justification for it, you know, when it was like, what are we making here? What are we doing? Like, is this telling a story? Is it a short film? Is it a video? You know, and I was just like, House, again, that like sort of unsubtitled dubbed version was always my thing of like, the first time I watched House with Eric, I didn't know what was going on, and it didn't matter, you know? So that's why it was so important for me.
Well, even with subtitles, it still is confusing.
The other guys saw it without subtitles too. You know, that was the first time Eric and I saw it, but then like Kim's must have just gotten it, because then I felt like within a short period of time, like everybody in our friend group was like, did you get like House from Kim's, you know, and like check it out yet? So like they kind of, in early 2000s Brooklyn, like we all saw this one copy, and I know like I can watch it on Criterion with subtitles now. It's like almost like a stupid rule I feel like imposed on myself to be like, I don't really want to like take away from that first experience and like what it meant to me and how liberating it felt to watch without subtitles.
Do you have a specific set piece from that movie that sticks in your mind the most, or that you enjoy the most to watch?
Like when the fingers are playing the piano, like that, you know, I kind of had that as like a still of that was my desktop, like my wallpaper for a while. Yeah, I like that part.
Wow, that was so interesting.
Yeah,
you know what? That man has a way with words. I
appreciate his perspective.
His take on it's so similar in a way how Animal Collective's music and House work, you know, as an art piece of various experimental components. You know,
right? Exactly. I mean, at this point, you're just repeating what he said. But anyway, the power of editing, people, it's amazing.
Truly. You can make anyone
I mean,
say
that
whatever
applies
you
to
want.
this movie. This movie is edited like a chicken with its head cut off. Like there are several sequences where you're just displaced in time and space, and it's very hyper active. But then there's also
Surreal.
very like there's some scenes that are just played out in masters and like very long takes with like interesting like focus shifting, like the scene where they're in the schoolyard and they're talking about the trip plans falling through and like all of that. They like start digital cropping, but then they also do like a weird little like just like a black iris on the corner of the screen to zoom in on someone's face, but they don't like no, it's not even like it's just this size and the rest of the frame is black. It's it's interesting.
Or green
I mean,
sometimes.
if you think about it, it inspired Mission Impossible Final Reckoning with its
inspired,
experimental editing.
James Bond, even though that was many years before, it still inspired it retroactively. Where should we start with House? Should we just start off with like how the movie starts, or do you want to give some sort of like backstory as to who directed this, the crazy person behind the, or maybe even the 10-year-old girl who came up with the concept for this?
I think
this
that's a
movie?
good place to start. Because what was the original like conceit? Like they wanted to make
Jaws.
They wanted to make a movie that was as successful as Jaws in Japan. But
And that company, I forget the name of it, that makes all the Godzilla movies.
Toho,
yeah. I was going to say Togo, but that's the guy, Mr. Mutton Chops, who turns into, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but he turns into a type of fruit that, let's just say it's bananas.
Spoiler alert,
spoiled it. I
Godzilla
spoiled it.
is not in this movie.
Or is he?
He's not.
I mean, he's not. Yeah.
As far as I know. I mean, he might have came to visit on set while they were shooting this.
There's a post-credit scene where the giant version of Gorgeous that pops into the house towards the end fights Godzilla.
That was actually Godzilla with a mask on.
Yes. He was just checking in. Didn't want to be too shocking, so he put on a human form.
So anyway, they were like, we need to come up with like new and exciting ideas, and adults kind of, he was like, I'm going to ask my daughter because kids have a more vivid imagination and they're less restricted by conventions and things they've already seen. And it's just more about like the subconscious. So thankfully that notion was turned into a good movie and not a piece of shit like Skinamarink. So some of the ideas are directly like brought to life like from her original like concepts, like the grandfather clock, the piano keys eating the fingers. There's a few others, and then they took that and then they were like, let's make it also weird as fuck, but like in an adult way. So the basic plot is there's a popular girl named, they all have weird nicknames. None of them go by their actual names.
They're like the seven dwarves.
Can you name all seven off the top of your head, Jordan?
Absolutely. We got Gorgeous, we got Fantasy, we got Sweet, we got Prof, we got Mac, we got Kung Fu, and we have there's another one. There is another one.
Her name is
it's right there. It is Wait.
Ba, 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 da, 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 da. Melody.
Of course.
Her name gets like shouted out more than anyone else in the movie.
And how could I forget that melody?
Because they play it throughout the entire movie.
Forget that melody is just
because the whole time you're
ending.
like, they start playing the thing, and like by the third scene when she's just in the piano room playing it over and over again, you're just like listening to the beginning of the melody and you're going, when I was a young
sounds like
boy,
the Black Parade.
my
Did My Chemical Romance like credit like that song? It's so the fucking same, isn't it?
At least like the
some
first 4 or 5
liner
notes are
note.
the same, but they both deviate after that. But it also reminds me of there's a Christmas song.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra.
No,
I'll
actually,
be home
a different
if
Christmas
only
song.
In my dreams.
I was thinking "Away in a Manger," the traditional
Well,
Christmas
every
hymn.
Christmas song is basically the same. So,
But this one specifically bears a very heavy resemblance to the melody in House, which credit to them for just calling it House and not calling it like the house that eats people. You know,
although that would have been cool too.
no, because then it gives away the mystery. I like how the movie kind of gradually unveils itself. Like by the time that she crawls into the refrigerator, the movie has permission to go kind of batshit insane.
I think I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe not. It's recited.
Well, that tension and lack of release is not similar at all to the movie we want. Well, I don't know.
In some
ways. The
ways.
point I'm trying to make is that this movie, you would think that it's like batshit insane from start to finish. It really isn't. Like, I would say like the first 25 minutes is a pretty conventional like story as far as like these teenage girls going on summer vacation or you know, and they're in like the end of the school year talking about going on the vacation and then getting on the train and taking the car out to the countryside and then walking like I don't know how many miles through the woods until they reach this mysterious titular house.
A long enough time to have a second introductory sequence for all these stereotypically named cast members.
Well, not just named, but also in personality. They all just sort of have their own gimmick. I don't know if that was...
Well, yeah, their names are specific to their thing. Like,
right.
Kung Fu knows how to do Kung Fu. Prof is the smart one.
Which, that bothers me. A prof would really be more... It's professor, not professor. I mean, come on.
But don't people say, like, when they go, you know, to school, they go, the prof said? Does anyone say
No.
the prof said?
No.
Everyone says the prof.
Maybe in Japan 50 years ago, but now in America, no.
I went to go see the prof.
Yo, teach.
I don't know. Yo, Teach. Yeah, I should have been called Teach. I was thinking, what about as a name for the movie instead of House? Because it has a lot to do with that cat. It could be called the House of Pussy. And then that would have been like, you know, one of those things where you go in and you're like, what's this gonna be about? All the perverts come in droves, and then they're like, the fuck?
You don't have to trick perverts into watching movies in Japan, okay?
Yeah,
There's
I was
a
going to
whole
say that,
market for that.
like, not to insinuate that this is in every Japanese movie, but it seems to be in a lot of the ones I've seen at least, panty sniffing. You thought you could get away from it in House, but there still is the one scene where Sweet gets beat up by endless mattresses and pillows.
She gets eaten. I guess the house eats all of them, but the way that the house ate her was that the mattresses, like...
But she just disappears, because then she comes back in the clock, and then the clock grinds her up.
Right.
So
it's the house absorbing the life.
But it leaves her clothes behind, and I think it's Melody or Prof that picks up her panties and just a quick whiff as she's putting them aside. And I was like,
yeah,
there's got to be one scene with some panty sniffing.
That's what you focused on in this movie?
I noticed it because I was like, is there going to be? And I was like, yeah, there is.
I figured that was like, you know, just teenagers being weird. Which
is that what you did when you were a teenager?
Never, the opportunity never really arose. I was never really in a house in the countryside where my friend was eaten by mattresses and pillows.
Well, that's fair.
But I'm also not Japanese, so maybe it's a cultural barrier. I don't know.
I think that's the main.
It's a much bigger part of everyday life over there. We forgot to actually just finish saying what the plot is. So it's kind of a weird, convoluted setup where like Gorgeous is supposed to go somewhere with her dad for summer vacation. I can't remember exactly where, but the plot develops that there's this new woman that he's dating, and even though her mom and his ex-wife, I guess, has passed away at some point for an unknown. Although maybe was it supposed to have any tie-in to the sister, the aunt? Was it his sister that is like the evil witch that lives in the house that eats people?
It's the mom's sister.
The mom's sister. Okay.
Yeah. I think that they said that the mom died 10 years earlier or 7 years earlier. Because I'm pretty sure the dad says, like, it's been 7 years since, like, he's had a new girlfriend or wife or whatever.
But she is such a minor character, but they spend like an entire 5 minutes explaining this new arrangement and like how it affects Gorgeous emotionally, and then it really doesn't make a difference because she's like, oh, I'll write to my aunt that I met the one time and ask if I can come stay at her house and also bring my 6 obnoxious friends.
Imagine how fucking irritating that would be, though. I mean, like, obviously, you know, there's some twists
If you
and
weren't
turns
there
with
to feed off their life
aunt's-
force.
Yeah, the aunt's true identity. But, like, yeah, if you were just a regular person and your niece calls you up and is like, hey, can I come over? It's like, ah, great. Yeah, I haven't seen you in forever. It's fantastic. I'm going to bring my 6 friends. 7 of you are going to come over here? Yeah. And we're all crazy. One person does kung fu nonstop. All right.
And she gets her own. The only other melody you hear in this movie is the when she does her kung fu very quick.
Which I think would make a great sample. I think it would make a great sample. Someone should.
I'm sure someone's
sample it.
already beaten it to us to the punch on that one, but
Beaten us to a pulp. But there is a couple other songs. There's that one that plays when they're getting on the train, and like the band that did that song is actually does a little cameo.
And they're singing in English.
They're singing in English, and I forget what it was, but it was kind of a catchy song. I was like, yeah, this is a bop. That piano melody, oh my god. That was really, really getting to me by the end. I was like, holy shit, I forgot like how just relentless this piano melody is every goddamn scene. There's some like variations on it, the instrumentation. And it's funny because like there's even times where it's like an acoustic guitar starts playing and you're like, oh, thank God. And then it like fucking creeps back in. Yeah, it also kind of sounds like Canon
It's supposed to be subconscious. It's supposed to be thematic about how they're being driven crazy by the relentless nature of the house itself.
If it's intentional, they did a phenomenal job at driving me to the brink of madness.
It's interesting that this didn't actually start as a movie first. Like, I think they wanted to make the movie, but they both couldn't get the funding, and the fact that they basically had to go through Toho to get it made meant that usually Toho hires like their own directors to make stuff. But this guy, we've yet to
We've not mentioned his name because we're gonna butcher it if we try.
But we should, because a lot of credit goes to him and his crazy mind.
All right, I got his name.
Nobuhiko Obayashi.
Obayashi. So
That's
Obayashi was a experimental filmmaker before he made this, and then he got into doing commercials, and the commercials also had his kind of like trademark experimental style. So Toho was like, we want something that's going to be like Jaws, that's going to bring in all the big bucks, going to be this big sensational movie. And they're like, we don't want you to do it though, because your stuff's weird. So I think you were going to say, Greg, put out all this like extracurricular stuff before the movie
it was like,
even
it was
made.
a manga and then a radio play, but they made the soundtrack first.
Right.
Before they shot the movie. And the soundtrack had already come out and like sold copies.
And what is the soundtrack? Is it just that same melody with those other
I would
two
assume.
songs? Like, how long is it?
It's
Is
an
it like,
EP.
Yeah. Or it's like it's a 3 LP, you know, like an hour and 30
Every
minutes.
variation of the theme just back to back. I was thinking that that theme kind of reminds me of like sort of like a music box, like you would find in a little baby's room, like
Sure.
wind it up and then that melody comes out. So I don't know, maybe all of that went into the inspiration for it. I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you that I know that I'm never gonna seek it out unless the movie is currently playing. Like. The only time I want to listen to that melody is if it's part of the experience of watching this movie. And it is an experience. That's what a lot of people attribute to it. They say it's not just a movie, it's an experience. It's like, well, it's a movie. But it was probably
It literally tells
one
you
of
it's a
its
movie
first
right at the
kind.
beginning.
Yeah.
The first thing you see after the Toho logo is a box that says a movie. Remember that?
It's that's helpful. Like like maybe it was going to turn into a newsreel, or like it didn't say a Godzilla movie, so I knew that we were good. We're kind of jumping all around because that's kind of what this movie does.
It's discombobulating.
It is, but it is really, it kind of does just turn into like a psychedelic slasher movie after a while, except instead of a masked man with a machete, it's a house that eats people. But it's really more like the spirit of the aunt is like the house. She's able to, so like, I don't even really understand how it works, but I don't think you're supposed to. I kind of had the idea for like a gag because I was searching up like an interview with the director on YouTube, and one of the first things that popped up was like the ending of the movie House 1977 explained. And I thought it would be funny to do like a version of that that's just like someone who can't explain it, where like so then she climbs into the fridge and then she pops up in front of the camera, but then she does a backflip and
dances with a skeleton.
Yeah, and then she becomes the house. And then
is she always the house, or do other people become the house? Because I feel like Gorgeous then kind of like takes up the throne.
I think it's the same whatever spirit is, the aunt is inhabiting by.
So the aunt is now.
I'm not going to explain any of the magic in this. I don't think it's supposed to make sense. I think it's supposed to be just discombobulating and confusing, because you're supposed to be put in the I don't want to say the shoes, because they never wear shoes in the house of these characters.
It's respectful.
Yeah. Well, that's just the culture barrier.
You know how many germs you bring into the house when you wear shoes in the house, Greg? The people that do it, I mean, you're walking on the streets, everything, all the germs are out there. And the streets, the sidewalks, my God, disgusting. There's people spitting, shitting, doing every fluid known to man is on the city sidewalks. You want to bring that into your home. Your home.
I didn't know I was going to be interrogated about my hygiene.
So anyway, the girls go on this long walk after the train to the house, and they encounter a side of the road watermelon salesman, and he is also the composer of the music from this movie.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, weird.
That's
right?
the second thing we've learned so far.
Well, that's also the second sort of. Well, no, the third sort of major cameo at this point, because we got the band before the train sequence. But Obayashi's daughter does a cameo in that weird sequence where Mr. Togo gets the bucket stuck on his ass. The little girl who's
is she
like
the one who's
the
playing
shoes.
the? Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's like, her and another guy are like, it's weird because it looks like she's shining a shoe and the other guy's like hammering a shoe. And
see, I didn't actually notice that part of the frame, because I was more focused on the kid who was playing the guy's ass bucket with drumsticks.
Right. That's when he comes back after the cat freaks him out and he falls down the stairs. I think that's like the first moment that you know that this is going to be kind of like a comedy as well. Like it's like pure slapstick.
Stop motion slapstick too, which is interesting. Well, what makes this movie impressive is that the visual style is so distinct in a number of ways, including, we were talking about the guy being a commercial director. There's a number of scenes in this movie that are lit exactly like a commercial, like just straight up, with like the fake backdrops and like just the lighting in particular in this movie. Like you can kind of see where like the lights would be placed to get that sort of surreal, unnatural effect, but it just looks so fucking good. Like it's a gorgeous movie in some scenes, and no pun intended.
Gorgeous, yeah.
But it is like there are some beautiful looking skies.
The stepmom, every time she comes in, she's got like the wind blowing her like little necktie back,
right?
And it's like straight out of like some commercial, especially like at the beginning when they have that permanent sunset backdrop.
Yeah, I did find it interesting that the later backdrop when they're like going out to the well, like multiple times, it actually changes in between the two scenes. I was like,
Yeah.
that's a nice attention to detail. But then there's also a shot that towards the very end of the movie where the stepmom is walking through that part of the property, and it's very clearly just a big blue screen behind the trees, like on the sound stage. They couldn't get another background, I guess, because but like it's like the one effect in the movie that doesn't look good. Like there are a few blue screen shots where it's obviously a blue screen, but it gets passed just because of the limitations of the technology. But then there's also like, it reminds me of that shot where Neil Breen is supposed to be facing the lion, but then the stock footage of the lion, the camera moves, and so it just but like that, they do that with like the background just so that they can show like the house in the distance, and it's like, that doesn't look good. But apparently the Mr. Obayashi would agree with me, because he said a few of the effects didn't come out as desired. So you do what you got to do. But
you know what? The thing is that even when it doesn't look good, because it's such a wacky movie, like I think it just adds to the whole thing. Like there's bits like, like one of the main scenes, I guess, is when Melody is getting eaten by the pianos. Like there's parts of that look good and equally parts that look awful. It's
like when it's supposed to be like the pieces of her body are being eaten and like thrown around on the inside, but it's also like, okay, you clearly just painted most of her blue, and then you cut out the part of her that wasn't blue, but it's like, what is that supposed to be, like the middle of her back? I don't know what I'm looking at. Like,
I know it's impossible to know. And then it's also inconsistent, because it's like you see like legs like flying out, but then it keeps cutting back to her legs like jammed into the front, like kicking outwards. You're like, didn't they just fly off 2 seconds ago?
Right.
It's like, whatever. It's okay. Why am I even questioning anything in this movie?
I don't know how much of this was influenced by like Italian giallo horror, but I feel like there are certain times when the lighting will change, or like they'll just have like random flashes of like effects that they only do once. Like I think it's towards the end before before Kung Fu kicks the cat.
Right. Kung Fu's legs.
Having to explain this with a straight face.
Kung Fu's dismembered legs kick the cat, painting.
After the lamp
kills the actual
top
cat.
half of her, right?
Yeah.
And then their blood comes up from the floor. But like right before that, somewhere in the craziness of that sequence, I'm not going to try to place it exactly, but like the background changes to like a red and blue like cartoon background.
Yeah, you're right.
And then I'm just like, that could be its own movie right there. Just that little like environment that they animated for like 2 seconds. But it's crazily edited in like the most controlled, chaotic way. But it is also one of those movies where you're constantly watching it, and like throughout the last 25 minutes, you're just going, what? Huh?
Yeah.
What now? What's that?
It's ever engaging. I'll give it that. Despite like that god awful endless piano melody, like you can't really stop watching it. Even though like some of the things are like bizarre. It's hard to figure out what's happening. You're just like constantly entertained by what's happening. Is it safe to say that this is a psychedelic movie?
I think so. I think it's fair to say, but it's also like, I don't know. I've never taken meth, but I imagine that there are some moments that a meth head would see that and go, whoa,
Whoa. I knew that this was real.
Well, I guess that's not true. I did take Adderall 2 or 3 times in college, so I've basically done meth.
So House is bonkers, and it is a horror movie. Is it scary? Is House ever scary? Is it truly a scary movie?
I mean, there are occasionally moments that sorry, I've literally had COVID like this time a week ago, so I'm still recovering. Anyway, what was I saying?
You're saying that it does have some moments of horror?
Yeah, I think there are like a few moments where like even as an adult you can be a little bit freaked out by the concept of, but most of it is just so goofy because it is a horror comedy that you can't really get scared by it. I think it's because it comes from the perspective of a child that like if you're a child watching this movie, the whole thing's probably fucking frightening. The most frightening part to me is like, are you telling me I have to walk for miles through the woods on foot from the nearest road just to get to this house? That's terrifying. But of course, that's
exercise is what scares you.
No, it's the isolation.
Oh, I see.
Because of the circumstance that arises in the third act of this movie when the guy's trying to find him and he can't because it's so far from the main road and he doesn't know what he's looking for. Like, It's a good thing that Gorgeous apparently knows exactly the way to get there. I mean, maybe not in the big picture a good thing because they all get killed. But anyway, I do think that, like, it deserves its place as a horror movie. I mean, it would be pretty frightening if you were on a thin little, you know, I don't know, I guess rice. I don't know what type of material that thing is that she's floating on all the cat's blood on top of. But just that entire scenario would be pretty terrifying. You could drown in a demonic cat's blood if you're not.
Yeah.
And one of them does, although she basically kind of just gets, like, absorbed by the house. They all sort of do, but that's the best way I can describe it without just cutting to the visual and demonstrating what I mean in that specific instance. Meanwhile, Gorgeous is off becoming, like, the ideal, like, geisha, like, housewife, because that's, like, the whole thrust of the aunt's, like, the evil antagonist of this movie is, like, you know, the aunt was married to a man who went off to war, World War II, and we all know how that ended with the Japanese. And so he never came back, and that was sort of the... Can you believe that Toho made a movie that has allegorical references to the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki? I can't believe it. They've never done that before.
They've never done that.
Because that her husband never returned, she's just always kind of stuck being this lonely wife, widow. And I guess her goal is to sort of just absorb these youths, and take their life force and make herself younger, which I guess she ultimately does just by her spirit sort of being channeled through Gorgeous, who is now sort of the face of the house itself.
So who is the cat?
Blanche.
But who is Blanche? You know what I mean?
Like, I think it's just an extension of her. Like it's or whatever the. There's it's not like, you know, The Exorcist where they're like, the name of the demon is Pazuzu. You just kind of have to, like, make up whatever you think the mythology of it is. But I'm assuming that, you know, the cat's eyes, like, flashing green is tied into, like, I think that's just the visual way of demonstrating that some shit's about to go down.
Right. Because Blanche is the messenger, right? That jumps into Gorgeous's window at the start of the movie and basically gives her the idea to go to the aunt's house.
I guess that's true.
So I guess if it is some sort of extension of the spirit of the aunt. Spirit of the Ant. That's a good band name.
Spirit of the Aunt.
Spirit of the Ant Hive.
Alien Aunt Farm.
That's pretty good. Alien Aunt. It's just a bunch of aunts.
Yeah. That would have been more creative. But then again, this is the same band whose claim to fame was covering a Michael Jackson song, so.
That's true. Do you know what happened to that band?
No, did they all die in a bus accident or something?
That's exactly what happened.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Jesus.
They didn't die, but they got severely injured in a bus accident, and they I
regret saying
away
that
from
in
the
jest. I should have picked something less severe.
Very specific. Are you sure you didn't know about that?
I mean, that's like whenever you hear something bad has happened to an entire band, it's a pretty safe assumption to make that a bus or van was involved. Alien Ant Farm is not in this movie.
No, thank God. To me, it wasn't like scary. Like, you know, I'm not like watching it and being like, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? Like, you're definitely like, what's gonna happen next, but not in the sense that, like, you know, it's that true terror, you know, suspense. But it did really remind me a lot of Evil Dead 2, and specifically
I just saw for the first time 2 days ago.
Which is crazy. Where have you been? And
I wasn't raised on horror movies, so I literally only seen the 2013 remake when it came out in theaters because I was 17 and I could.
Wow, that's interesting to see that without any context.
Well, they told me it was a remake, so I'm like, okay. And they're just going to redo all the scenes from the first movie, which they kind of did, but then it goes its own direction towards the end.
Kind of its own thing.
But Evil Dead 2...
Evil Dead 2 is effectively a remake as well, but it is a comedy spin on what was taken as a comedy. The original Evil Dead was just so comedic in tone unintentionally that Sam Raimi was like, fuck it, let's just like do it intentionally this time and up the ham and cheese. So I felt that I don't know. I mean, like that came out after House, so maybe it kind of influenced Sam Raimi's decisions because when like those bits where like Kung Fu's like fighting like the wood that when she's like chopping the wood and then the wood comes to life and it's just like it's coming at her from all different directions. I was like, this is so like an Evil Dead moment. Like this is not scary. It maybe the concept of like inanimate objects coming to life and then becoming threats is kind of like a scary thought, but the way it's handled is so goofy that it just becomes entertaining in a comedic sense. So I was like, this is, and then there's like a lot of other things with like the dancing skeleton and stuff like that, where I'm like, yeah, this is, it's still in the horror realm, but it's not actually scary, and it's having fun with things that would maybe traditionally be scary.
Right. Well, I also just like the sort of the parallel of that moment in Evil Dead 2 when all the like the lamps and all the like the deer on the wall, just anything just starts laughing and he's like clearly going crazy and having this. I mean, that's a really cool practical thing to pull off, which I guess that is like one of the big strengths of this movie is that so many, if anything, all of the effects are done practically, minus, you know, the few blue screen stuff.
Yeah.
That is very apparent when you watch it, but like it's just the amount of technical craft that went into it is very impressive. And
very impressive. Yeah.
It definitely still holds up, but it also has its own time and place and the charm that comes along with that. So, you know, you take it with a grain of salt. I think it really is just more about the experience, man. You can call this a psychedelic horror movie. I would not. I don't know anyone who would actually want to watch it on psychedelics. But I'm also, you know, not. Who am I? You know, I'm not like John Lennon, and I'm not eating it every day. Like, if I have an experience, it's probably like they're like 18 months apart, and I'm not putting on a horror movie. So that's just my own personal. Would you watch this movie on psychedelics, Jordan?
I would, because I think I may have told you this. I have not, but I think I may have told you this story before, maybe on this very podcast. But if I haven't, or even if I have, I'm just going to tell it again. So this one time I took like a shit ton of shrooms, and it was so delayed, like them kicking in, that it was like I took them in the evening expecting to watch Muppet Treasure Island. So it seemed like a great idea. And so I'm like eating all these shrooms, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Give it a little bit of time, you know, like watch the movie after about an hour and a half. I'm like, nothing's happening. So I'm like eating more, you know, as you know, that's what you should do when it's not kicking in. Just eat more. And so then I'm like looking online, like, what can you do to make shrooms kick in faster? It's like drink lemon juice. I'm like drinking lemon juice. Like, oh, God, it tastes so bad. Still doing nothing. I watched the entire fucking Muppet Treasure Island movie, like effectively sober. And then after the movie, I'm like watching the behind the scenes footage on the DVD. And then it kicked in. And it's amazing because like everybody that worked on that movie from the Jim Henson Company, all the Muppeteers, they look like Muppets themselves, and I swear to God, every single one of them is high as a kite, and it's incredible. If you haven't seen the special features at Muppet Treasure Island, get high and check it out. So anyway, this was just the beginning of my trip, and it just like ramped up. So I started getting like super fucking like, you know, high off the shrooms, and like everything's like distorting around me and stuff. I was like, holy shit, what am I gonna do? And it's now like super late at night. I'm like, I gotta wind down and like, you know, go to bed. So I was asking my wife, like, what do you think I should watch that's not going to freak me the fuck out? And she's like, why don't you watch one of those like nature shows on Netflix? There's like this one that's specifically about baby animals. And I was like, that's genius, of course. That's going to be so
you actually
pleasant.
told this story pretty recently.
I did?
Yeah.
Baby Ants was the episode. Baby Ants.
Yeah, I think you told this
just
story
like regular ants
when we had Lucas on Studio Sparks.
Oh, yeah, I think I did. Yeah, that's right.
Which, for the viewer,
why was
is like only 3 episodes ago. But the
that
point
was like
is,
last
you
episode.
watched the baby ants thing.
Oh, no, I know why. It wasn't with him. We were talking about Oddsack to somebody, because I ended up watching Oddsack afterwards because the ants were just horrible to watch because there's thousands of them and they're everywhere, and they look like regular ants even though they're babies. So I put on Oddsack instead, and it was awesome. And I everything in me was thinking this is maybe a bad idea to put Oddsack on while I'm this fried, but it was awesome. It was awesome, and it made me realize that certain psychedelics, despite maybe like, and I can't say that this is the case for everybody, but like for me at least, those anxieties that I have where it's like, oh shit, if I do this thing, it's going to unlock all the darkest parts of my brain and my worries and shit, and then that's all going to come flooding in and ruin my trip. I find that like shrooms for the most part steer me out of that. Like, you know, I let the shrooms take the wheel and fucking drive me wherever it wants to go, because it knows better. It's like, yeah, you got all that shit over there, those fears and stuff, but don't worry, we're not headed there. We're good. You like this Odd Sack movie, trust me. And it was great. So all that to say that I would do psychedelics and watch House, because I think it would be the same thing. I don't think it would like be a nightmare. I think it'd be it'd probably make it more fun.
Because you could handle it specifically.
Yeah, but I'm sure I'm not the only person that feels that way about psychedelics.
No, but they're not the main character like me.
You think you would have a panic attack?
No, I think I would just get to a part where something would freak me out and I'd go, nope, and I'd just turn it off. Like, I think I would just have that, like, immediate fight or flight response.
No, fair enough.
Well, there's not really much more I think we can say about House.
Oyster Cult.
What, I mean, are there any...
I think there is something we can say about House, is that I would recommend it. It's been selected by Criterion, and it's kind of...
yes. I actually do have a story that relates to that, by the way.
Excellent.
For the podcast, I was watching... great content. Oh, boy. No, I can't remember if last night when I watched it for this podcast, it was my third or fourth time seeing it. I think I'm leaning towards 4, because I know for sure the third time I saw it in a movie theater, just like as like a random limited screening. I don't know what the occasion was, but like I wasn't expecting like a film reel or anything like that. I knew it was going to be digital projection, but it was literally just the Criterion Blu-ray. And I know this because they showed the trailers or whatever, or like the, you know, please silence your phones. And then the Criterion menu just came up and they hit play and the movie started playing. I was like, well, I guess that kind of spoils the magic. I'm glad I paid a full admission price to watch a movie.
To watch someone's DVD.
Yeah, but I mean, it looked really good on a big screen, so. But yeah.
You said it was Blu-ray, so at least it's 1080.
I assume it was Blu-ray. I don't think there's a 4K DVD of this.
Glorious 480p.
But I was also thinking about, like, I don't know if they ever would upscale it that much, because I don't know what kind of negatives they have. But I was thinking about the effects, and I'm like, I feel like you could probably improve a few of these effects and, like, remaster it. But I don't know if they kept the original, like, what do you call it? The, like, elements that you need to make those layers. I don't know if those still exist. And they probably don't. And if they do, they've probably disintegrated. But I don't know. And I agree,
but also,
though,
I don't think you shouldn't. Yeah, it's like it is perfectly captured for what it is, and like you said, there's some degree of charm that comes with the dated effects. But some of them, they're like, you know, that piano scene. Like there's the severed fingers, like pressing the piano keys at the end of that sequence, looks great. You can't do that any better. Other parts of that sequence, definitely room for improvement, but it adds to the whole thing.
You know what another effects-heavy movie from 1977 was called?
1977, effects-heavy. What does it start with?
Starts with an S.
S?
Yeah.
Spaceballs.
No, actually, it was Star Wars.
I was close.
But can you imagine if George Lucas had been the one that made House?
Holy shit.
Then we would have gotten a special edition and another edition and a third edition and then
the whole cinematic universe.
I don't know where I was going with this point.
I think you were trying to say that you can see like kind of the differences in the effects that were used on opposite ends.
I can see the difference of restraint when it comes to just letting the past be the past and not having to try and polish it to make it subjectively better, as opposed to just preserving art for art's sake. Although
Yeah,
there
exactly.
are rumors apparently of them. There was like someone found a YouTube playlist on the Disney official channel that had like clips from the original theatrical version of Star Wars.
Really? So they are going to release it, is what you're saying?
Yes, that's at
good.
least
That's good news.
and probably 2027 for the 50th anniversary. They're gonna. I'm assuming. I mean, Empire is barely different, but like the first and third one especially. Having those
Ugh.
in an official capacity for everyone to see, as opposed to like, oh no, you have to go and download this 40 gigabyte torrent just for the 1080p version of 4K 77 or whatever. Like, Star Wars has always been weirdly gatekept when it comes to like, we did a whole 2-part episode about this, but
Yes.
like, it's nice that stuff like House, there was no like, oh, we got to clean this up. Oh, we got to, re-edit it for American audiences. They're like, no, just put subtitles on it. Fuck it. Like, they'll either get it or they won't. Do you think that there's any sort of like thematic implications or whatnot when it comes to the incompetence of all of the male characters in this movie?
Maybe. I don't know. It's one of those things like where when I was watching it, I was trying to think like, are there like allegories here? Are there like deeper layers? I was like, honestly, it's weird. It's so weird that I can't focus on any of that stuff because there's just too much else happening, So yeah, I don't know. I there might be like I was thinking too that like the house with all these kind of scary elements could represent in a way like Gorgeous, like her fears of her own household with like her father bringing in this new mother and stuff like that, and this idea of replacing someone who's like the matriarch, which is kind of like what happens in the house. It's like the aunt dies, but then these new girls, and it kind of feels like they're going to take over because Gorgeous does say at the end, like, they're all going to wake up or something like that. So I was like, maybe there's something there, but honestly, I didn't give it enough thought to get past that. But
Is it,
yeah, with
you think that the Mr. Obayashi just thought it would be funnier for all the guys to be buffoons and incompetent?
Maybe. How do you explain the fate of Mr. Togo?
He went bananas.
He went bananas? But he told the watermelon guy that he doesn't like watermelons and he likes bananas. And the watermelon guy just turned into a skeleton and died.
Well, I think he's part of the operation. I think the aunt probably conjured him in the same way that she's able to conjure that cat to do her bidding, because he's the one that at the beginning tells them how to get to the house.
Right.
And so...
And one of his watermelons is laughing in the background.
That, and he also kind of he just basically straight up says, he's like, oh, this will please the master or whatever, like,
Yeah, it's going like this.
So, yeah, exactly. Literally, he does that, so...
Yeah.
I was also thinking about, like, I was wondering if Zach Cregger was inspired by this to make weapons. Because I know he was inspired by Get Out, but I don't know if he had any inspiration from this, because it is sort of a similar thematic realm, I think,
I mean, like having like a demon aunt, perhaps?
Having an old woman who's able to, like, regain her energy and her power through like sucking the souls out of the youth or whatever.
Parasitic aunt.
Yeah, if you think about it.
I guess there's some similarities there.
Also, that movie ends in a house. It's mostly focused around a house. So really, what I'm saying is Zach Cregger is a fucking hack. No, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
I hear you.
There were some parallels.
I mean, who knows? We'll have to get Zach Cregger on the show, and we can ask him, We can ask him.
I'm only going to ask him questions about Miss March.
Yes, the forgotten first. It's funny that Barbarian was billed as the debut film by Zach Cregger. It's like, you're trying to hide this friggin' Miss March skeleton in your closet.
I mean, wouldn't you? Know.
I own that movie. I have that literally on DVD in my collection.
Let's also not forget about the Civil War on drugs, by the way. Barbarian is technically his third movie, so.
I guess. But yeah, Miss March is a masterpiece.
Would you consider House a masterpiece?
Yes, I would. But I also acknowledge that it's not going to be for everybody. Like, it's obviously really weird, and I think a lot of people will probably be rubbed the wrong way by that. I think that a lot of people, and it really comes down to kind of what the core of this podcast is about, which is like our love for a band that is not afraid to take experimental risks and not afraid to alienate, people in that process. So like this movie, I think is the same thing. It's like if you're open to taking it in and enjoying it, you're going to find lots to enjoy and lots of stuff that's going to stick with you. But if you immediately write it off as being weird for like weirdness' sake, then you're probably not going to enjoy it, and you're probably going to be like, this is just wacky, and they're obviously just trying to get wackier and wackier. So, like a cat, you got to open the door, Closed doors, they lead you nowhere.
Well, this has definitely gotten that like status of like if people know that you like watching weirder movies, they're like, "Oh, have you seen House?" Or if they're like you, they're like, "Have you seen Hausu?" Like, just call it House. It's fine.
It definitely falls into that realm of like, weird movies. Like if
like I
you
wouldn't
go through all the
recommend this to
David
my
Lynch
mom.
movies. No, of course not. If someone likes the Mission Impossible movies, I'm not going to recommend House to them. But if you watch David Lynch movies, let's say you watch a Danny Perez movie and you enjoy it, then I think you're probably going to love House.
So if you liked Anti-Birth, the only Danny Perez movie,
what are you talking about? Oddsack.
that's a visual album. Okay, it's not a movie.
I consider it a movie.
Well,
it's an experimental.
I consider
film.
you a movie. How about that, Jordan?
I do too.
Life
It's
is
all a movie. Life is a movie. When's it gonna end?
Eventually. Which is about the time range that I'll watch that unknown number catfish documentary that you recommended to me.
Right. Well, you should watch it. It's
I will. Eventually.
It's fascinating watch.
It takes a good joke or a good filmmaker to be able to translate jokes that are made through dialogue to a different language and still have it be like laugh out loud funny. Because sometimes the intonation or like the way that something is said can get lost in translation, not so much the actual like setup and punchline or even just like the comedic thing that they say. Like, it's nice that a movie like this, you can enjoy it in that aspect, even if you aren't fluent in Japanese, which
True.
I at this point in time I'm not, but I mean, who knows what the future holds.
Well, we do not, that's for sure. We don't even know when the next podcast is coming out after this one. Will we do something for No Nut November? Will we review a movie or a film?
You could have said No Shave November. I mean, you had to go right to the weird one.
Nobody cares about the Movember thing anymore. It's all No Nut November.
But it won't be on this podcast. It'll just be regular
Not on this
November.
podcast. It'll just be regular November. We'll be nutting. There's going to be loads of nuts.
Okay,
it's going to
I'm
get
just
nutty here.
I gotta cut this off. Thank you for watching or listening. If you're listening to the audio version, we'll be back next time with something. But real quick before we go, I have some things to plug. Number one, I did a 2-hour-long interview with two of the filmmakers behind the documentary Never Get Busted. That's on my main channel. I'll put a link in the description. There's also 2 other videos on that main channel that might interest the audience of this podcast specifically, because
Yes.
I was able to bring this professional camera setup with me to a concert, specifically the Deacon and Panda Bear concert in Oklahoma City. And I recorded both of their sets in beautiful 4K with a long lens that I hadn't figured out how to stabilize completely. So it's a little shaky, but it's the full set. It's in focus. I don't know what else I can say. If you like,
it's great.
If you like their music, go check it out. Those will also be in the description, and hopefully they're the first of their kind, and many more to come in the future. But I gotta say, not as enjoyable going all the way to a concert and then just recording it. Like, it would be one thing if I wasn't already emotionally invested in the artist and it was just a gig that I was doing. But it was also, like, kind of annoying to only be able to enjoy the concert through the viewfinder on the camera. So I might... It was just like, I thought, hey, I might as well try to, pull this off. And shout out to Josh.
You took one for the team.
Shout out to Josh, a.k.a. Deacon, for hooking me up with the media press pass thing, permission, because it was a really cool thing to be able to do. So go check it out.
So I also want to plug something before we leave you on that note. I did a remix for the pop punk band Say Anything.
Hey, I've heard of them.
You've heard of them?
I've heard the name.
Of them. You've definitely heard the name.
Yeah. I've been to Hot Topic
probably
before.
Brought it up before. Check it out. It is a remix I did on their new EP, which is called Say Anything Is Committed Remixes. My remix is track 2, and it is a remix of their song Carrie and Lowell and Corey Pendant. And I think it's pretty sick, and it's rad that...
But how will they know it's you, Jordan?
Right. So I have an electronic artist name. I go by the name Peppermint Noise Pollution. So you'll know it's me because if you see that name, nobody else has that name. Peppermint Noise Pollution is me. So check her out. Give her a listen. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification.
You want them
button.
to let you know what they think of the comment section?
Let me know what you think of the comment section.
Okay.
In the comment section, okay? If there's no comments there, comment on that and let me know. That is all.
Do you want them to leave a comment on anything to do with the music, or?
Yeah. Comments on the music. Only if it's good, though. If you think it sucks, then keep your opinion to yourself.
I appreciate the honesty, I guess. All right. We'll see you next time.